Morning. Yes, here I am. I have found an ancient city deep underground, which I will explore a little bit. But yes, good morning. Good morning. I'm gonna get some of this wool because hold on, settings, audio. Because here, everything it matters about your sound, like how much noise you make. Because yeah, you gotta be quiet here in this scary place. So to be quiet, I have to crouch. I mean, I can just walk. But there are like there's a big bad guy that lives here, and if he hears you, he'll kill you. I can use wool to occlude my how do you cut wool? What's the best way to cut wool? Oh, shears. I can make shears. Yes, good morning. Thank you for hanging out with me this morning as I play Minecraft. Now, I'm going to grab some of this wool because I'm going to need it to move around the ancient city. Like I said, there are creatures here that care a lot about sound. So wool can be used to dampen sound so that the creatures don't get mad at you. So I'm going to grab this wool because I'm sure I'm going to need it. This is an ancient city that has been corrupted. It's been taken over. You can see. Ooh, let's see. It's super dark this way. You can't see nothing this way. Okay, I thought I saw a sensor over there. Hey, this is safe because it's wool on the ground. So those are shriekers. Those will make a big noise if they detect sound. Well, not them, but their friends. If their friends detect sound, they'll they'll shriek. They'll make a bunch of noise, and that'll call out the big bad guy who will come to kill you. Oh, so like that. Oh shit! Right? Ah, scary, scary. All right. That's him calling the monster. What do we got in here? Candles. Loyalty 3. I don't need that. Ooh, amethyst shards. I can dig the shards. Ooh, I can dig. Oh, cat. I don't need cat. But I'll take the books. And then candles. Sure, I'll take candles. Why not? Can they stack? Yes. All right. Hey, nice. All right. Slowly, slowly creep around this dangerous place. Slowly working my way inward. What here? This is all wool. I can walk here. Oh shit. Oh fuck. Just me moving. I don't want the bad guy to come because he'll kill me for sure. I've never fought him. And he'll kill you. So just be quiet. So there's a sensor right there. And there's a shrieker right there. Ha! Ha! Nothing to make the no shrieker, so you guys can't do nothing. I want to get rid of some of this stuff so I can pick up. Yeah, dude, anything you do makes noise. And these guys get all bent out of shape about it. All right. Well, there's that other side. Welcome, good morning, right? Oh, there's another chest. But there's a shrieker and a shrieker. So I need to use my wool. It heard me. There's a shrieker right there. Or there's... Oh, I can't do that. Oh, there's two sensors right there, dude. If I... Here, I'm gonna take out... Oh, fuck! Oh, fuck! Oh, fuck! Run away, run away, run away! How do you get home? Where's home? You can hear him. I don't know where he is. I don't want to, like, go get him. Because it takes a while to go through the portal. He can't see me, but he can smell me. Did it hear that? Alright, I don't know where he is. I'm kind of afraid. Because he's out. Go away, dude. Oh, I'm scared. Oh shit, there he is. Oh, you can hear him making footsteps. Okay. Yeah, dude, go away. Yeah. He's going away. Alright, excellent. So 3 times. And he comes out. Oh, that was scary. Because I can't kill him. There's like... You can't kill them. They're unkillable. Can I grab one of these guys? Dude. Fuck. I'm just gonna run away. That guy will totally kill me. He's over there. He's way over there. Doesn't know where I am. So there's the center in here. What are those redstone lamps over there? I'm kind of terrified of moving around though. Did I even open that box yet? Oh, fuck. Where? He's right there. He's over there somewhere. Oh, he's up there. That's the horrible monster, the warden. He's kind of... He was sniffing. He's sniffing. He did smell me. He smelled me. He smelled me. All right. Oh my God, he's coming after me. I can hear the running. I kind of want to run away. I can't fight him. You know what? What if I come back here later? I can't possibly do my show while exploring this place because this place is too stressful. There's no way. There's no way I can do the show while here. I'm gonna go home. I can't handle it. It's just too stressful. Okay, go home. Yeah, just go home. Like, I haven't even made like a rail line here yet. It's just gotta run. It's so bad. But yeah, so that's one part of Minecraft where I'm at right now. Which is I made a train line there, or another portal to an ancient city so I can explore it. That's like new content that I haven't really checked out much. Because it terrifies me. And there's not a whole lot of reason to go there. I mean, you get some, you know, maybe an enchantment, but that's about it. Oh, how did you get up here, dude? You're not supposed to be able to spawn. Did he spawn on the glass? Like, what'd you spawn on? Like, the redstone lamps, maybe? Ooh, maybe. Maybe the redstone lamps are solid. I don't know. Okay. I gotta cover up those redstone lamps. Alright. Ooh, safe. Alright, the other thing that I did... Yeah, it looks so much better with that NVIDIA occlusion put on. I like the fog isn't so overbearing. Now it kind of like blends in. I made a path here I don't know where it goes or what it's for, but it's a path through the swamp. And it's a nice path through the swamp. Right through the middle. I don't know where it goes yet. I mean, it goes here to the edge of the edge of the water. But yeah, then what? Then what? Does it go? Do I make a bridge to go across the swamp? Do I make a dock here? This isn't a very big pond. I don't think it goes anywhere. But yeah, and then you can see up there. That's my skyline, the sky train line I was gonna make. That I am making, like it's going around right now. It goes around the whole swamp. So let me show you what that is about. Yeah, scary ancient city. Holy crap! I couldn't do anything there. I mean, I could later on if I wasn't about to do a show and talk about stuff. La la. You know what that reminds me of? That tower back there? That reminds me of Osaka Tower in Osaka. I don't know if they call it Osaka Tower, but yeah. Okay, yeah, that's right. I was going to show you the other thing I worked on. Da da da. This is the beginning. The beginning of the sky bridge, or the sky train. You can see it goes all the way around the swamp. The whole swamp is protected under my jurisdiction, under my protection. And this gives me ideas because beyond this little tiny mountain range, I mean, it's just basically a little hills. It's not really a mountain range. But beyond it are the Great Plains, and it's a huge plains biome. So I think I want to go check out that place next, because then I can use my horses. Yay! I don't have any horses. And right now there's a bug in Minecraft where a chicken can push your horse out of its pen, and then your horse will just wander away and you'll never find him again, which makes you sad. Because I found a really good horse, and it's now lost forever. I mean, probably not lost. It's probably wandering around somewhere with my saddle on it, but still. I don't know where he's at. And I'm not going to find him. So eventually I'll wander over to the Great Plains, and I'll find new horses. And then I'll actually have a use for them because it's in the plains. It won't be like the swamp with all these trees and these sinkholes filled with water. You know. No, it'll just be nice rolling plains. So I have to cover all of this with rail, which is no problem, right? Because I have like unlimited iron and unlimited gold and unlimited redstone. So the hard part, really, it's not really laying the rail. It's figuring out where I want the stops. Like I want to, like this right here looks like it should be a stop. Like it should be a three-wave thing. Like one should go that direction and the other one should go that direction. Like, and I already know how to make three-way stops. So that'd be cool. Then now we're at the other edge of the forest, the eastern edge of the swamp. The eastern edge of the swamp. That's like the gateway, the river that leads you to the swamp. To my swamp. So yeah, there is a little river that goes through all the way through. Hey, cool, I should like clear that out to make it more obvious. The eastern way. You know, it's a pretty sizable swamp. You can see my base way over there. Pretty big. But it's still not as big as the plains biome. Like it'd be a lot harder to do this with the plains biome because it's huge. Yeah, so last night I had trouble sleeping. Around 1 o'clock I woke up and it sounded like there was a busted water pipe right outside the wall. It was weird. It kind of made me concerned. And I thought at first my neighbors were taking a shower at like 1 in the morning, which I'm like, okay. But like it sucks that it's so loud, but oh well. And then I tried to go back to sleep. I woke up again at 3 in the morning and it's still doing it. So I'm like, dude, my neighbors are not taking a shower. I think there's like a water pipe busted or something in the wall. I don't know what's going on. So that's kind of scary. This is the northern way. I kind of want to make a train line going that way because I know there's a bunch of good stuff when you go north. And I need a train stop there, like just a stop, because that's like a nice little mountain. I can build a base up there, or like a little shelter. Do do ba da ba 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 da. And then this corner, I don't know what to do with this corner. It's kind of weird. I guess I'll make it bend toward that mountain over there. I mean, it already does. There's a stop. I mean, it stops on top of it, or there's a spot right by the mountain, the hill, where I can stop. It's not even a real mountain. It barely has snow on top of it. It's got 1 block of snow. It's not a mountain. Burn, burn, zombie, burn with your bone. Burn in the light. Burn! That's right, zombie, burn! Alright. Ooh, this is a lot harder. Ah, it's actually kind of cool. I like this. Third person perspective. A wider perspective. Yeah, then I kind of realized how crazy this is to run on. Like, what am I doing running on this tiny little 1 meter wide sky bridge above, like, how tall is that? How far? Far to fall. All right, here's the moment of truth when I try to navigate the corner. Hey, not too bad. All right, jump off. Yay! So yes, there's the SkyTrain. That's the start. I'm going to make a train station here, and that SkyTrain goes all the way around the swamp, and it'll come back. Da-da-da! Ouch. All right, yeah, nice. Well done. And then I should probably extend my farm here to include other crops. So I'll just like extend it down a couple more terraces to the side. Pretty neat. And then for the mine, I don't know if I did this last week, if I told you, I showed you last week. I fixed the axolotl farm so it works. And see that guy right there getting attacked by the axolotls? And then F5. F5. There we go. So to make sure that all the stuff flows in, I basically have like created a divide in the water. It's funny. You can't see it. Like, check it out. In the middle, there's no water. It's air right here. So I created so anything that floats to the top, if it floats to the top, it's gonna fall into the hopper and go down the line. But it's small enough that the axolotls can pass through either side without really like getting too dried out. So it's nice. It's nice. And it works really good. Like passive accumulation. All right. Yeah, so you know what? I have a whole bunch of stuff I want to talk about. Like a whole bunch, probably too much. And I don't know if I'm going to have the energy for it. But I'm going to try, right? Because this is important. Even if no one listens to me, even if no one cares, I need to keep the story straight in my head. Otherwise, I'll like lose it, and I'll start following along to whatever. Like, it's important to know what's going on, to know the truth, so that you don't get easily manipulated into like stupid conspiracy theories. All right, let's sit on top of a tree. Stand on a tree. Yay, Mr. Tree. Let's hang out. All right. Oh, man, what to talk about? Oh, fuck, there's so much. I'm just going to throw in, right? The very, very first thing I woke up to, I mean, like, once I woke up, was this. There was a mass shooting last night in Monterey Park, I guess Los Angeles, at a Lunar New Year festival, a party. There was a party, a bunch of people got together to celebrate the Lunar New Year, and some asshole with a grudge at a power complex took a gun and went and murdered a bunch of people celebrating the New Year. Like, no, they don't have a motive behind it. They say, oh yeah, the police say we don't really know what's going on yet. But come on, guys. It was a Lunar New Year party. That's Asians. That's Asians. Asian people celebrate that. And what group has been talking mad smack about the Asians? Republicans. Well, Donald Trump specifically. And I know that there's other guys who talk about a representative from Colorado named Eric Swalwell. For some reason, they want to paint him like as a traitor by associating with Chinese people or something, which is kind of crazy because Donald Trump basically sold a bunch of U.S. secrets. Well, he got a bunch of money. His daughter did. Ivanka got a bunch of money, a bunch of trademarks to do business in China in exchange for favorable policy from the Trump administration. Yeah, Trump administration eventually did the trade embargo, or the trade war, but the trade war is like doesn't really hurt China that much. All it does is instead of sending goods directly from China to the United States, like, you would pay US dollars to China, and then China would send you Chinese goods directly. And so it's really quick. Well, then they put Donald Trump did that trade war to say that, no, you cannot trade directly. If you do, then there's a huge tariff, and it makes it not worth it. So did that stop trade between United States and China? No. All it did, the only thing it did, was it funneled it. Instead of going from USA to China, it goes USA to Vietnam to China. There's just a middleman now. That's all. Instead of going from China to USA, the goods, now the goods go from China to Vietnam to USA. So the trade war didn't really do anything. The only real good thing that was done with the trade war was Joe Biden limiting the Chinese access to our computer chips. Because those computer chips are what's necessary for advanced weaponry, and and it's not necessarily in the interest of the United States to help the Chinese develop their military technology. Like, you can do that on your own. You don't need our help. So, anyways, so Republicans and white supremacists have been creating a false sense of fear and hysteria about Asian people. That's why you have a bunch of anti-Asian attacks, and it's stupid. It's racism. Of course, it's stupid. It's racism. It's the exact opposite of what the United States is about. Like, and yet it persists, and because it persists because it's being encouraged by a particular political party, the Republican political party. They're encouraging it by spreading misinformation and lies. What else? What's this? Oh, hey. The real turning point of this okay, this is from Anthony Flahault. And it translated from French. The real turning point of this pandemic may not be the lifting of COVID-0 in China, nor Kraken in New York City, but rather Davos 2023. The world has just realized that the rich and powerful protect themselves from COVID-19 by improving the quality of their indoor air. So let's recap. There's a PCR to enter with access wristband tied to your results, so that you're literally labeled with the results of your test to make sure that you're negative. All right. Then there's gigantic ass air cleaners in every single room. They amped up the ventilation to keep the airflow really, really, really fast. And I don't know what this means, but basically, what they propose is what we've been saying. Since COVID is airborne, the way you treat it is by increasing ventilation and filtration in buildings where air is recirculated and concentrated, where the virus can be recirculated and concentrated. We know it works because the billionaires of the world just met in Davos, and they didn't all wear masks. They were able to congregate in a giant ass area together, real close, with no masks. The way they did it was they improved their air quality. To do that, you have to revamp all of our infrastructure in the United States, and that costs money. That's why the rich don't want to do it. They're trying to shove it off on the poor people to say, you guys have to wear masks and you guys have to do all these precautions. But us rich people, we're going to go ahead and invest the money into our buildings so we don't have to wear masks. Wait a minute. Something's not right there. Like, there's a whole bunch more of us than rich people. Like, it's a lot worse if we let COVID go crazy for poor people, because it's going to eventually reach the rich people too. Like, just because the virus started in China doesn't mean it stayed there. Ow. I gotta fix that. It's not quite straight, but that's good enough. Hey. Yeah, there's that one. So, also at Davos, remember this. Who was over at the World Summit Economic Forum at Davos 2023, where all the billionaires meet? It was Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin. And what are they doing? They are high-fiving each other because they successfully blocked the Democratic agenda. They blocked Dems from doing the things they wanted to do. The Dems wanted to go huge with helping the Americans. Bernie Sanders wanted $10 trillion for infrastructure. and Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin blocked it. And they're at a meeting full of billionaires, and what do? They high-five each other because it shows you who they really serve. They don't serve us, the people. They serve the billionaires. They blocked the Democratic agenda to help the billionaires. Not to help the people, but to help the billionaires. That's how you know Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema are bad people. They're the anti-democratic team. Joe Manchin tells CNN's Dana Bash this morning that he will support Kristen Sinema if she runs for re-election as an independent. Why is Kristen Sinema running as an independent in Arizona? Because she knows she cannot win the Democratic primary. She can't win because she's not a Democrat. She knows she's backstabbed the Democrats. She defrauded the people of Arizona by portraying herself as a Democrat. Then, once she got into office, she became a Republican. And she helped the Republicans stop the Democratic agenda. And then now when it's coming up like, oh shit, now it's time for re-election, she knows the Dems aren't going to support her anymore because she ditched the Dems. She backstabbed them. So what does she do? She pulls a Joe Lieberman and she runs independent. So she's betting that she can get enough Republican support to defeat the Democrats. So she's betting that Republicans will be aware that even though Kristen Sinema is running as an independent, she's really, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, a Republican. And same thing with Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin, Joe Manchin is in it for himself. He's not really a Republican and he's not really a Democrat. He's in it for himself. He serves the oil companies. And oil companies don't care what party you're with as long as you serve oil companies. That's why Joe Manchin is all about weakening the Democrats and pumping up Kristen Sinema because that increases his own personal value. Joe Manchin under a Senate with only 50 votes, because Kristen Sinema is not a Democrat anymore. Maybe 51, right? You need every single vote, every single one. And Joe Manchin wants to be the kingmaker. So of course he supports Kristen Sinema. He wants her to keep the Democrats divided and weak. It would be bad for Joe Manchin if Democrats got 52 senators because suddenly Joe Manchin is irrelevant. He can no longer block the Democratic agenda. Yeah, they're bad people. You got to watch out for those guys. Man, I'm just jumping everywhere. Okay, one of the big bad things that happened in 2022 was that the Republicans were successful in stripping rights away from women to their own body. Women, everyone, we're born into this flesh here, right? And we all have this assumption that everything that goes on inside of this thing, everything from my skin inward is mine. Everything from your skin inward is yours. We have this assumption. But Republicans have passed a law to challenge that assumption. They're saying no, your skin is everything inside from your skin inward is not yours. You don't own your body. Republicans are saying your body is property of the state. That you don't actually own your body. Your body is owned by the state, and the state can dictate to you what you can and cannot do to your own body. Now, we have that in various degrees already with drug prohibition and the like. But drug prohibition really isn't necessarily a good thing, right? The criminalization of drugs and the solution of incarceration to fix it is failing. It depends on your perspective. If you're a private prison owner, then you love the high incarceration rate, and you love the fact that the Americans try to solve a health issue via incarceration. You love it because you make money that way. All you have to do is house humans, and Americans have a history of housing humans anyways. Of imprisoning, enslaving humans, warehousing, that's the word, warehousing humans. So as a private prison owner, you love the fact that humans don't control their bodies. But if you're an American citizen, yeah, and you want to control your body, it's awful because you're paying taxes, and your taxes are not being used in a way to help other people. They're being used to enrich private prison owners and the carceral state. It's not being used to help people. So Republicans have this real big idea to strip away bodily autonomy from people. They don't want humans to control their bodies. They want bodies to be properties of the state, so the state can dictate what you can do with your body. And if they control the state, they control you. So their first step, one of their steps towards stripping humans of their bodies was overturning Roe v. Wade. Now, Roe v. Wade was like settled law from like last century. It was from last century, this law. And this law said basically what a person does with their body is none of the business of the government. It is the the government has no business knowing what a person does to their body. In terms for medical treatment, that's not the government's concern what the person does with their body. So based on that, the government cannot know or inquire or find out or make any decision for a human based on what they do to their bodies, their medical, what they do for medical treatment for their bodies. Their medical treatment is for them and not for the government. Well, the Republicans don't believe that. They say, "Nah, we don't. We think the government should know." Republicans are really, really big into government power. They want to take away. They want to concentrate power as much as possible. The way you concentrate power is you take away power from other people and you smush it into one little area. So instead of everybody having decisions for their own bodies, you take away that power and you smush it into the leader of our party will tell everyone else what they can do with their bodies. So Republicans in that aspect, with that idea that they want to concentrate power, they strip away the ability for this law. It's from last century. Roe v. Wade is from last century, and Republicans came into this ancient law and said, no, we're going to change it. We think it is the government's business to know what you do to take care of yourself medically. We want the government to be in the doctor's office with you, with your doctor. It's you, your doctor, and the government. That's what the Republicans want. Because why? Because Republicans want to control how and what you do to take to your body. They want to control your body. And for women, they primarily want to control the reproductive cycle of women. They want to be the ones who maintain the reproductive. In other words, because reproduction for men is basically free, but reproduction for women costs a lot in terms of biology. Like women's bodies completely change to do reproduction, whereas for the man's body does nothing. There's nothing, right? You can have 1 billion kids. You can father 1 billion kids as a man, and your body will not change. But it takes a toll on the woman. And to the essence, right? It's not just like a monetary cost. It's your soul that's like, it's literally a person grows inside you. Like literally, you create the foundation for a human being inside you. So men want to control that. They understand that producing new humans is very powerful. So men want to control it, and the way they control it is they keep women in that state of reproduction and limit all other possibilities, so that the purpose of women then is only to create more men, more white men. And Republicans really believe this. They really believe that women should be only making more babies. That's it. They shouldn't have any property. They shouldn't have any political power, any political voice. They really believe this. But they can't do it all at once. So they have to do it step by step. So the first step is to strip away women's rights to their own bodies. And they don't stop at women, right? That's just the first step. they go on to take away rights from everyone else too, right? So now you have this big story about trans people. The Republicans are on a crusade to eliminate trans people. They won't say it like that. They don't say it like that. They couch it in nicer terms, but that's essentially what the Republicans want to do. They want to eliminate trans people because they because trans people represent a threat to their ideology. What is their ideology? Well, their ideology says there's only one possible way humans can be. Only one way humans can be. And the existence of trans people shows that that idea is wrong. No, that's not the only way you can be, a human can be. There's many ways a human can be. But that threatens, people who want to maintain control over bodies. Remember, those who want to concentrate power and wealth, right? If humans can be other than male or man and woman, if you can have more than two genders, then no longer is the power up in the elites. Now each individual person can determine for themselves their gender. Can't do that. Can't have that happen if you're a Republican, because that means you lose power, and you don't want to. You want to concentrate power and wealth. So you need to strip that back. You need to strip that away from individuals and bring it back into the state. Republicans are big into state power. So what they do is they pass laws saying that certain people cannot do gender affirming care. Other people can do gender affirming care, and that's great. But other people, if you do gender affirming care in a way that the state doesn't like, then you can't do it. We forbid it. In other words, if you're a person and you're like, hey, to feel more like a woman, to feel more feminine, I want to get breast implants. For some people, the state would be like, yo, that's cool. Get your gender affirming care. But for other people, it will be like, no, you cannot get this gender affirming care because we don't like it. No other reason. There's no other reason other than we don't like it. Because power. Because they have the power to determine for individuals what they can and cannot do to their bodies. That's fascism, guys. That's fascism. That's Republicans. That's what they're doing. And they go after the most marginalized groups. Because they're the easiest to go after. No one's going to say anything if you're harassing a homeless person, right? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Because homeless people are so weak and have no representation and no power. So it's easy to harass them because no one's going to protect them. And once fascists understand and realize and get society to be numb to the violence and dehumanization to marginalized groups, then fascists can start creeping inwards and start dehumanizing other groups. They're not going to stop at trans people. They're not going to stop at Jews. They're not going to stop at women. They're not going to stop at Muslims. They're not going to stop at gay people. They're going to keep going. They're going to find, they're going to find Asians. They're going to find natives. They're going to find whatever. Even when you get to white people, they're going to find reasons to separate you out. There's always going to be a reason to make you a minority. There's no safety under fascism. You can never, ever, ever be secure in the in-group under fascism, because fascism always needs a scapegoat. And as soon as one scapegoat is extinguished, they killed everything, they will move on to the next scapegoat. So how does this relate to what I was talking about? Republicans. The Lunar New Year shooting. You know that happened because the Republicans have been pushing anti-Asian hate all over the airways all the time, pushing anti-Asian hate. And you also know that Republicans do not want gun control. Now you'll say, oh look, this is in California, what happened to the gun-free zone, right? Remember, California isn't alone in its own little universe. It's attached to this other country called the United States, where guns flow freely. In fact, one of the big problems is that we have a big fentanyl issue in the United States. Fentanyl comes up from Mexico, and what flows down from Mexico, from the United States into Mexico? Fucking guns, dude. Guns and weapons. Guns and weapons flow to the cartels, which then use them against the Mexican government. And they stage badass battles, huge battles. Like, they fought over an airport when the police arrested the son of a drug cartel leader, and the cartels responded with 50 caliber rifles. They were shooting at planes, dude. And where did they get those 50 caliber rifles and massive caches of weapons? It's not from Mexico. They get it from the United States. So Republicans are responsible for the anti-Asian hate. Republicans were responsible for the gun control, or for the lack of gun control in the United States and all the gun violence. Republicans are responsible for the drug problem we have in the United States, because they want to control like everything. And like goddamn. So people go to work and they work their asses off, and they mess up their bodies. That's what happens when you work your ass off repetitively over and over again under a system that treats humans as cogs in a machine. It happened to my dad. Like, he went to work like every day, like for years, dude, and it killed him. His shoulder got wrecked, his back got wrecked, his hips got wrecked, like everything on him got wrecked. So like, sure, you can put him like on pain pills, but eventually, like, what happens if the doctor like starts getting asked questions? Like, the feds are come by and like, hey dude, why are you giving this guy so many pain pills? The doctor's gonna freak out, be like, oh shit, I don't want to lose my license. Sorry worker, dude with a wrecked body, I can't give you pain pills anymore. The feds are looking at me too hard. So now the wrecked worker with a lot of body pain can't get the meds that you were getting before, and you're in a lot of pain, and it sucks. Well, you got to get relief somehow. What are you gonna do? Heroin's gonna give you relief. So you get hooked on heroin, opioids. So now you're on fucking, opioids. And then, but eventually the heroin runs out, or it gets mixed with other stuff like fentanyl, which will just fucking kill you, outright kill you. And then what is the response of our society? To imprison the users of the drugs. Oh my god. So it's backwards, right? The whole thing is designed to feed off of misery, human misery. Like, there's ways to take care of this drug problem, and Oregon's on top of it, right? We're already starting to decriminalize lots of drugs. And sure, there's a lot of Republicans who want control, and they're like, oh, we don't like this, this non-punitive, non-incarceration solution of yours. But give it a chance, dudes. I bet you it'll work a lot better than what you're doing. Yeah, there's just so much. So here's like a really good example of the difference between the Democrats and the Republicans. We live in the United States, and the United States is basically 50 countries. It's 50 countries that are all banded together. 50 really similar countries, but 50 separate countries nonetheless. That's why it's hard for Americans to get driver's license in other countries, because you're not making the country that normally there's a treaty. Like Japan has a treaty with Canada, so that that if you have a driver's license in Canada, you can use it in Japan, because in all of Canada, the driver's license test and rules are all the same, all throughout Canada. So it's easy, right? It's easy. Just one treaty, that's it. But the United States, it's different. Every state has its own traffic rules. Every state has its own driver's license. every state has its own set of stuff. So Japan would have to make a treaty with 50 different states. They're not going to do that. Well, I think maybe China, Japan did, but France didn't. You could not drive in France on an American license unless you took unless you took the driving test in France again. So yeah, so that's one of the neat things about the United States, is that we are the laboratory of democracy. Every state can do its own thing, and then you can see the result. You can compare the states to see, oh, we can see when one state does this thing and the other state does that thing, look what happens. We can see the difference. Okay, so with that in mind, let's look at the Midwest right now. In the Midwest, you have 4 states, and they went and they have and each state has a trifecta. 2 of the states have trifecta for Republicans, and the other 2 states have trifecta for Democrats. So remember, when a party has trifecta power, you get to really see their values. You really get to see what they're about when a party has trifecta power. In 2008, when Dems had trifecta power, they passed the American Health Care Act that gave health care to millions of Americans. Then, in 2018, when Republicans had trifecta power, they passed the Republican Tax Cut Act for billionaires, which lowered the tax cut for billionaires to the lowest it's ever been, ever. Then, in 2020, when Democrats had trifecta power, they passed the Inflation Reduction Act and the Biden infrastructure bill and a whole bunch of other stuff. They lowered the cost of insulin to $35 and Biden canceled student loans, and Republicans were trying to stop it. But yeah, dude, so right, really cool. You get to see clearly what each party is about, like who they serve, really who they're looking out for. And then when Republicans retook the House in 2023, their first bill was to defund the IRS, because the IRS goes after billionaires and makes billionaires pay a tax. So Republicans don't want billionaires to pay a tax, so that's the first thing they do. Yeah, it's really good, right? Laboratory of democracy. It helps you to make distinctions. You can look at the 2 parties and go, Democrats do this, Republicans do this, Okay, so let's look at the state. One state in Wisconsin, right? Wisconsin is a state in which Republicans have trifecta power. So you can see clearly what the real good values, right? So they really believe this. Republican voters, they're like, yeah, Republicans really believe this. And they say, you know what? Now that we have total control of the government, we're going to look at our Wisconsin society and look at the problems. And we're going to go like, oh, look, there are some humans who are doing things to themselves medically, and they're saying that there's more than 2 genders. As the Republicans with total power of the state, they say no. We are using the power of the state. We want to tell them what they can do and they cannot do with their body. So a person, like, people are born gay or straight or whatever. They're born that way. They're born that way. It's not a trait. It's not like something you pick up from behavior. It's not something you're socialized into. It's something you are. It's just the way you are. It's just the way it is. I attest to this because I have personal experience growing up with a person. Like, before I even knew what gay and straight was. Like, I didn't even know what gay and straight meant back. Like, I was a little kid, right? Like, I had no idea. Like, I was watching pornos for the first time. It was like, and yeah, dude, there were kids in my group who at that time, even before we even knew what was going on, that had a preference for that wasn't like my preference. That we're sure we were both little boys. We were both little boys, but I had a preference one way, and I thought everyone would share that. But no, it wasn't. they had a different preference, and they were too young to be brainwashed into it. You know, they watched the same TV as everyone else. they went to the same school as everyone else. They went to the same church as everyone else. It wasn't like they weren't, there was no way they could have been socialized or tricked or programmed or groomed. There's no way, dude. There's no way. They literally just grew up that way. You went in the pot. You hit puberty. We all hit puberty at the same time, or around the same time. We hit puberty at the same time, and some people went the other one way, and other people went the other way. Just the way people are. That's just the way they are. Okay, but for Republicans, they don't want people to have their own way. They don't want it. Republicans want to control power. They want to concentrate power. So they will strip away your right and my right to determine what we prefer. And instead, they put it up into the state, into their leader, for their leader to tell us what it is that we feel. So in this instance, when the Republicans in Wisconsin have total power, they are going to legalize something they call conversion therapy. What it is that they take these teenagers who say, yeah, dude, I'm gay. Or, yeah, dude, I'm lesbian. That's the way I am. That's the way God made me. That's how I am. God made me this way. And Republicans, because they follow the white idol, they say, oh, is that what you say? Well, we're going to torture you. We're going to torture you until you stop saying that. We're going to torture you until you stop saying that. That's what conversion therapy is. They torture kids until they stop saying stuff like I'm gay or I'm lesbian. They're basically denying God. Because God made them that way. It's the same thing if you make fun of me for my cleft palate. It's not my fault. God made me that way. So you're dissing God, not me. So the number one thing that the Republican Wisconsin, when they had trifecta power, was they want to torture kids into denying God. Really, trifecta power really shows people what your party is about. Okay. Over in Des Moines, Iowa, in Iowa, Republicans have GOP trifecta power. They show their power in strong ways when they have trifecta power. You see clearly all their values. They're very, very clearly expressed. And so GOP in Iowa, they're like, okay, we're sitting on top of total power of our state. What do we got to look with our binoculars at our state to see what's the most pressing problems and use all our power to address them. So we look and we go, hey, look, I see that there are poor people who are buying food with food stamps. We got to take back power. Boom! Because remember, Republicans are all about concentrating power. So they will strip away the power of poor people to choose what food they buy and then tell them they have to eat bad food. They literally tell them you have to eat bad food. So the GOP is like telling them, like, telling poor people, because this is the most important thing for Republicans, dude, what is that? I gotta get rid of that Snapchat because it's killing me, like it just did. Oh man, don't die on me. I don't know what's happening here. What if I kill something over here? What if I kill this? Okay, yeah, I'm back. All right, so cap chat has got to go, dude. You're gone. Remove, because it's killing me. Can I remove it? Add? No, dude, I can't remove it. Okay, well, here, go away for the moment. I'm going to try this again. Iowa. Dude, oh, man. Okay, anyways. So, they're telling poor people what kind of beans to buy, what kind of meat. You can't eat fresh meat anymore. You have to eat processed meat. What kind of cheese to buy, Like a whole bunch of for Republicans, this is the most pressing issue. Poor people might not be suffering enough. That's the number one issue for Republicans in Iowa, is that poor people might not be suffering enough. They want to make it even worse for poor people. Okay. In Minnesota, that's where Democrats have trifecta power. And Democrats, so remember, trifecta power, you show clearly what you are about with your trifecta power. You look out there, so the Minnesota Democrats at top of the trifecta power, they took out binoculars, they looked across their state, and they saw, hey guys, look what I see, look what I see. Minnesota families with children could see thousands of dollars in tax breaks, and school funding would climb under a spending plan, Tim Walz announced Tuesday. The governor also proposed a new Department of Children, Youth, and Families. So Democrats use their trifecta power, looked, and say, hey guys, we could give more money to children. We can help out kids to grow up better and not be hungry and be educated and be good. Isn't that great? We can help out our kids. Oh, Democrats are using government not to concentrate power and wealth, but to spread around wealth. That's like opposite of what the GOP does. That's weird. These two states are like right next to each other, and they do opposite things. That's so weird. What else is going on? In Michigan, the Democrats recently got trifecta power. Trifecta power in Michigan. So what are they going to do? In Michigan, they're going to codify LGBTQ rights. So they're going to basically pass a law saying that, yes, in Michigan, humans have the ability to determine their own preferences. They're not concentrating power and wealth. They're instilling the power into the people. Okay, protecting election workers, right? That's super important. Remember, Donald Trump created sent his shadow army to attack those two election workers, and it was terrifying for them. They were getting death threats and stuff. Having when the president of the United States calls you out personally, holy crap, dude. I felt terrible for those two women, and they're just trying to do their jobs. They're just trying to be good patriots and volunteer their time to help do the election. And Donald Trump, of course, Republicans hate the fact that we do elections. They want to, Donald Trump tried to overthrow the fucking government to make sure we couldn't do this kind of election thing. So Republicans are not on board with the elections at all. So it's really good that when Democrats are in power, they protect election workers. How cool is that? All right, so repealing right to work. That's super important. Man, that the right to work is basically a law that empowers employers over workers. So if you have a what is this about, right to work? It basically says that it's like a free rider. Okay, so a workplace, right, decides that they want to unionize. There's a workplace says, all right, we're all union now. This is a union workplace. Well, some people are like, no, we don't want to be a union. In right to work states, those people get to have all the benefits that the union gives them, but they don't have to pay dues. Because you don't get, unions don't get benefits for their workers for free. You don't join a union and the employer doesn't be like, oh, everyone, you made a union, I'm just gonna give you more money. No, it doesn't work like that. Instead, what happens is the workers start talking. They say, hey, we want to start a union. And then the owner's like, hey, guys, don't do a union. Don't do a union. Don't do a union. And then they make a union. He's like, fuck. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you, union. Well, the government passed a law saying you have to talk to the union. So he's like, fine. And then they have to bargain. They have to fight each other, basically, to set the wage limit. That's why. But the union, all the workers together, bargains a lot stronger than one tiny guy with a family to feed who's like got nothing else. He's like, yeah, I'll sell my labor for whatever you'll give me. That's a weak bargaining position. It's way better if you're in a union when you get a lot better bargaining position. So by repealing right to work states, it gives power back to unions. So wait a minute, what do you mean gives power back to unions? Unions are all the people. You mean you're investing the power into the people and you're not concentrating it? That's like the opposite of what Republicans do. So yeah, that's pretty cool. At this time. Oh yeah, so in Texas, there's a Republican trifecta. They absolutely control the state of Texas. So Republicans are sitting on top of their power in Texas. And they're like, all right, we need to find the most important thing to work on in Texas. And what do they find? They're like, oh my gosh, look at over there. There are people who are saying that there's more than one kind of sexuality. That there's a sexuality other than the sexuality approved by the white idol. We can't let that happen. So Republicans use the power of the state to strip away the rights of people to determine their preference. Like, who cares how two people interact with each other? Like, I don't care what they're doing with each other, right? It's their business. It's none of my business. Why do you want to know, government? But see, Republicans also want the government to be in your doctor's room. So it doesn't, it kind of makes sense that they also want the government to be in your bedroom. So Texas passed a law saying it's illegal for you to put your body part, for you to hang out with consenting adults doing whatever you want. You can't do whatever you want with a consenting adult. That you can't be free. You're not allowed to. Texas says no. You're not allowed to be free in Texas. And the Texas Attorney General is saying yes. He is going to expend state resources to spy on people, to look in their bedrooms, to see what they're doing in there, in case he feels he needs to send the police in there. Because that's what Republicans are about. Concentrating, taking away the rights that people have and concentrating them in the state where they control. And then at the same time they say, oh, we want to get rid of democracy, so that it never changes. Like, it's pretty obvious, huh? So in this laboratory of democracy, you get to see clearly what happens. The pattern is Democratic trifecta states tend to invest power in the people, tend to invest money in the poorest people, and tend to protect rights. In Republican trifecta states, they tend to strip power and autonomy away from people and put it into the state. They want to expand state surveillance, and they want to legalize torture and take away your ability to decide for yourself. They want to torture you into compliance. Sounds like a fascist. Sounds like fascism. Yes. So basically, that's true. You can boil it down to say Republicans are a fascist party, and the Democrats are a multiracial party. Now, I'm not saying Democrats are perfect. Like, Hakeem Jeffries is kind of corrupt. Hakeem Jeffries, like, was pushing a Republican judge in New York against the entire Democratic Party. And they've done this before. The Democratic Party will sabotage its own progressive members. So yeah, I'm not saying Democrats are perfect, but it's real clear what's going on with Republicans. Republicans tried to overthrow the government when they lost the election. Republicans allied with Vladimir Putin to get them power and took his money to get them power. I know what the Republicans are about. They're fascists. So check this out. This is how bad it is, right? 3 active duty Marines arrested for participating in the January 6th attempted coup. Active duty Marines. these are Marines. When you take an oath to join the armed services, you say, I hereby solemnly swear to protect the U.S. Constitution. First thing! It's the first thing! It's the first thing! You protect the U.S. Constitution. And these guys use their military training and their expertise to attack the United States government to overthrow the Constitution. And then they turned around and went back to work, serving in the U.S. military like nothing happened. There they are. I'm waiting for the Boogaloo. What is the Boogaloo? The Boogaloo is code for Civil War II. These guys want Civil War II. What side do you think they would be on during a Civil War II? Would they be on the side of the United States, multiracial democracy, or would they be on the side of Confederates, fascists, trying to overthrow the government? They've already proven they're on the side of the fascists. So if they want a Boogaloo, what they're saying is they want to overthrow the Constitution, and they're sitting in the U.S. military while they say, I want to overthrow the U.S. Constitution. And I bet you they're not alone. I bet you there's many, many white supremacists inside our military who want to overthrow the Constitution, who also want the Boogaloo to happen. But they would join the side of the fascists in trying to overthrow the Constitution. It's real. I mean, look at it, right? In 2022, white supremacists plotted to attack U.S. electrical grid by shooting into power stations, FBI said. Like, he wanted the group to be operational on a fast-track timeline if President Donald Trump were to lose his re-election bid. This is in 2020, February 2020. And we know he tried to overthrow the government later. And then check this out. In February 2022, last year, 3 men pled guilty to conspiring to provide material support to a plot to attack power grids in the United States. And we already know the power grid has been attacked a bunch in the Pacific Northwest. I don't have it here. All right, here, check it out. According to court documents in fall 2019, Frost and Cook met in an online chat group. Frost shared the idea of attacking a power grid with Cook, and within weeks, the two began efforts to recruit others to join in their plan. So this is already starting to happen in the Pacific Northwest. A bunch of our power stations have been shot out because they're fascists. As part of the recruitment process, Cook circulated a book list of readings that promoted the ideology of white supremacy and neo-Nazism. By late 2019, Sawal, a friend of Cook's, joined the conspiracy and assisted Cook with online recruitment efforts, operational security, and organization. As part of the conspiracy, each defendant was assigned a substation in a different region of the United States. The plan was to attack the substations or power grids with powerful rifles. I mean, that's basically what's been happening to our power stations here in the Pacific Northwest. So white supremacists are organized to overthrow the United States government because it is slowly becoming multiracial democracy, and white supremacists cannot abide by multiracial democracy. They want white supremacy. For an example, remember the Proud Boys? The leader of the Proud Boys right now are on trial, undergoing trial for conspiracy to commit seditious conspiracy, or it's for seditious conspiracy, conspiracy to overthrow the government. The leader of the Proud Boys, this guy, Tiny Tusitala, Tiny Toes, is part of the Proud Boys. He's part of the Proud Boys, and he got arrested multiple times, and now he's in jail again. He's in jail again recently, and this was posted on Facebook. Now, this is the real interesting part, because here, remember that you can look at him, right? This guy is a total. Look at the shirt he's wearing. Pinochet did nothing wrong, is what his shirt says. So he's a fascist. He's a fascist. He's a He's joined a white supremacist party that tried to overthrow the U.S. government in service to a white supremacy for a white supremacy President Trump. He wanted to overthrow the government. Now look what was said. Now remember the quote. Remember the quote by Martin Luther King Jr. I look to a day when people will not be judged by the color of the skin, not judged by the color of the skin, no, but by the content of their character, the inside, by the content. That's what you look at the inside. It doesn't matter the color of your skin. It's what's inside that matters. That's what Dr. Martin Luther King is talking about. That's what he's saying, right? That's what he says. Now, look at him, right? Look at this guy. Don't judge him by the color of his skin, but by the content of his character. How can you look at the content of his character? By his actions and his words. His words are, Pinochet did nothing wrong, so his words are fascist, white supremacist. He's in jail for brutality with the Proud Boys. So he associates with the white supremacists. He does violence like white supremacists. He walks, talks, and speaks. He walks and talks like a white supremacist. And if you look at his dance, if you look at his, not his skin, but at his dance, look at his dance. His dance is a white supremacist dance. So if you look at his character, the content of his character, and not his skin, you see he's a white supremacist. Now, white supremacists cannot understand what I just said. They cannot do it. It cannot do it. If they did, it would destroy them. It is their built-in internal contradiction, inherent contradiction. White supremacists have inherent contradiction, and it smacks them in the face every time, because they cannot understand. They cannot understand this. They cannot get it. What they understand is a twisted bastardization of what he said. They repeat it, but they don't understand they're repeating it wrong. So let me show you what I mean. White supremacists cannot understand what Martin Luther King just said. So Eli Falk says, wow, look at that racist white guy. And I say, well, no one ever said white supremacists were smart. And Eli Falk says, he isn't white, you walnut. So wait a minute. What's he talking about? Why? This guy, Eli Falk, is saying that because this guy, what's his name? Tiny Toes, because Tiny Toes is not white, he cannot be a white supremacist. That's what he's saying. For a white supremacist, the color of your skin determines everything. It determines everything. The color of your skin determines the content of your character for a white supremacist. So this guy, Eli Falk, is a white supremacist. So he assumes because Tiny Toes is not white, he cannot be a white supremacist. And the opposite, right? He says, wow, look at that racist white guy. Because he's saying, oh, look, you guys are calling him a white supremacist, but he's not white. So how can he be a white supremacist if he's not white? Because he believes that the color of your skin determines the content of your character. So if the color of your skin is white, you can't help but have the content of your character be white supremacist. If the color of your skin is not white, then the content of your character cannot help but be multiracial democracy. But that's not true. The color of your skin means nothing about the content of your character. He can't understand it. He doesn't get it. Your skin means nothing. It is the content of your character that matters. That's why Tiny Toes is a white supremacist, because his content is a white supremacist. His skin color is irrelevant. He doesn't get it. He can't get it. Same thing. I thought the Proud Boys were racist white people. This photo is odd. He's trying to insinuate, because remember, White supremacists cannot ever come out and stand out firmly out in the open into the sun. They cannot do it, because if they did, they'd burn and die. They can never ever stand out in the sun and say openly what they believe. They can never do it. They have to strike from the shadows, like this guy. He's insinuating. He's not actually coming out and standing strong saying, this is what's up. No, he insinuates. He hides, because then that's plausible deniability. If you call him out, he'll say, that's not what I meant, or it's just a joke, bro, or you're racist because you said that. Because you called me out, you're racist. That's what they do, right? So this is an example of a white supremacy who cannot stand out in the open. He has to strike from the shadows. So here, he won't actively say what he believes. He insinuates. He says, I thought the Proud Boys were racist white people, because remember, he is a white supremacist. He cannot understand that the color of your skin is irrelevant to your character. He cannot understand it. He believes with his full being that your skin color determines everything. So Tiny, to this white supremacist, can't be a white supremacist because he's not white. Because for the white supremacist, your skin color determines everything. But he's wrong. He's totally wrong. It's so funny. And that shows, and the thing I want you to notice is that white supremacists will never stand out in the open. They will never openly say what they believe, unless they are 100% sure you're on their team. If they believe they're safe, in a safe place, they might come out in the open and try to recruit you. But if they're trying to like confront someone, they will never say what's actually true. They will never say it what they actually believe. They will never say it because they don't believe anything. They will do whatever it takes to get power. Their only concern is power. That's why they're so squiggly and squirmy, and you can't pin them down, because they'll shift into whatever form they need to take power. Because, yeah, the content of their character is terrible. Here's another one. Gotta love those Samoan white supremacists, because for him, this is a contradiction. He's saying you can't have a Samoan white supremacist because the color of their skin is the wrong color. Because this guy Louis is a white supremacist. Because to white supremacists, the skin is what determines the content of your character. They get it backwards. They don't get it. And they cannot possibly understand it. Because if they did, it would destroy them. So, but again, he can't outright say what he believes. He can't outright say, wait a minute, you can't be a white supremacist if you have dark skin. He can't outright say it, because if he did, then the truth would burn him alive. Everyone would show, if he ever stood out in the open, he would get burned. He'd burn into nothingness. His position's untenable. That's why he has to say it, insinuate it. He can't actually say it, and he can only say it when he's in safe company. Fascism is an inherently weak position. It's inherently weak. Here's another one. Nicole Townsend Skaggs. Wait, what? I thought the Proud Boys was a white supremacy group. She's insinuating that Tiny Toes, or that Proud Boys is not a white supremacy group because it allows Tiny Toes into their group, right? And for them, and she believes that since color of your skin determines content of your character, and there's no way that Proud Boys can't be a white supremacy group if their leader is Cuban and the other guy is Samoan. That's an example, saying skin color, dude, skin color. See, look at the skin color. No, it's the content of your character. The Proud Boys group, their leader, the whole group organization is centered on white supremacy. Violent white supremacy. Well, white supremacy is inherently violent, but yes, the whole thing's centered on white supremacy. Remember, they're being held on trial for trying to overthrow the government. Yeah, they're white supremacy. Don't look at their skin color. Look at their content of their character, their actual actions and words. Their actual actions and words, not their skin color, not superficial skin color like white supremacists. See, white supremacists are fixated on the superficial. That's the problem, right? They're shallow. They can't look. They're shallow. Maybe they need glasses. I don't know, like spiritual glasses. I don't know how to fix white supremacists. But you can see, but I can clearly see their problem, right? I can totally see what's wrong with them. Here's another one, right? It's over and over. It's not just one. All the white supremacists have the same blind spot. They all have the same blind spot. See, look at Aaron Zook can't come out and say what he really thinks. He can't come out and say what he really. He's saying, I thought. Weird, not weird, dude. It's they are a white supremacist group. What he's trying to suggest is that if he's got dark skin, it can't possibly be a white supremacist group. No, skin color is irrelevant. It's the content of your character, not the color of your skin. But these guys, white supremacists, can't possibly see it. It's impossible for them. They can't do it. They can't do it. It's a weak position, and because they can't do it, here it is again, right? He's the darkest white supremacist I've ever seen, right? Because the color of your skin is irrelevant to the content of your character. It's the content of your character, not the color of your skin. White supremacists have it exactly backwards. Exactly backwards. They see only superficiality. They cannot see the content, only the superficial. Well, maybe they do see the content, but they pretend to be stupid, because if they ever admit that oh yeah, I understand that these guys are white supremacists, then they get like booted. Like they're like, fuck you, white supremacists, get out of here. They can never admit it. They can never admit it. And if they did, that they can only admit it around in a safe place where they're around other people who agree with them. Yeah, white supremacy is an inherently weak position. Inherently weak. Inherently. That's why they hide in the shadows. They can never strike directly. They have to hide from in the shadows. I mean, any position and like any ideology that is predicated on violence is a weak position. You wouldn't need violence if it wasn't weak. I mean, that was the whole point of peaceful transfer of power. That we were strong. We didn't need to be violent about it. like we were conscious enough to be able to be like, okay, that's what the people want. Let's do it. But then these white supremacist fascists come along and try to break the whole thing. Like, we had a tradition for how many years of unbroken peaceful transfers of power until Donald Trump. And the Republicans. So let's look at this quote one more time. Right? I look to a day when people will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. In every one of those quotes that I showed you, the white supremacist was making a judgment based on the color of the skin and not the content of the character. Holy shit, how did you get in here? There's a giant ass slime up in here. I don't know how it got here. How'd you get here, dude? Like, did it ride the elevator? That's kind of crazy. Okay, anyways, that threw me totally off. Here, let's get the Inquisitor farm going. Inquisitors serve the white idol. So sure, I love grinding Inquisitors into their base items and throwing away the rest in trash. I love it. Okay, and you have to understand, right? We are in a white supremacy. This is a white supremacy attempted coup. Like, make no mistake about it. They're still trying, right? They're still trying. The Republicans appointed a whole bunch of insurrectionists to the House Oversight Committee, and then the insurrectionists say, we want all the information from the Department of Justice about the investigation into Donald Trump. And we want the Department of Justice to like do a crazy witch hunt into Joe Biden stuff. Like, it's already clear what's happening. Like, they're trying to overthrow the government from within, trying to weaken the United States from within. We already know. That's what they're trying to do. And it makes me sad that the Department of Justice took so long to get Donald Trump. Like, it should have got Donald Trump for conspiring for working with Vladimir Putin to overthrow the election in 2016. Like, we haven't even gotten to that one yet. Like, I can't believe it. Like, I think they want to bury it. That's what they want to do. They want it to take so long that you forget about it, about how Donald Trump stole the election in 2016 with help from Vladimir Putin and Russia. Because they want to install white supremacy, fascism. And what is white supremacy fascism? Let me show you. No, I don't want to show you. You don't need to see a snuff. You don't need to see someone die, like on a Sunday morning. But already, we had a mass shooting in LA. I have a video on my computer right now of police ordering a man, it's a white guy, a man out of his trailer. They order him out of his trailer, and as soon as he comes out, it's like a fucking firing squad. It's like 20 gunshots, 20 different guns go off shooting him, and he just flies backwards. And he's just standing outside like the police wanted him to do. So basically, they called him out to execute him in the United States. Man, I can show you this part. I'm not lying. I'm not going to show you the video because it's graphic. Police in North Carolina shoot a disabled man who was unarmed and complying with their orders. A SWAT team woke Jason Harley Clopfer up and told him to get outside. Then they shoot him as soon as he opened the door. Dude didn't have even a second to do anything. He couldn't see anything. There were shining lights in his eyes, so he couldn't see anything. It was like, what time? Like 3 a.m. He had no idea what was going on. Like, no one knew what was going on. Like, they just heard someone saying, come outside. So he goes outside, and they fucking murder him right away. I'm not going to show you the video. Like, maybe later, but not today, not in this one. Then, the police, like, tased the guy, like a couple weeks ago, tased him to death. Then another guy, they just like, I don't know, they just like killed him. I don't know what's happening, but they're like demonstrating it in Atlanta, Georgia, because it was so egregious how the police just killed people. Like, the police haven't stopped killing people. Nothing's changed since George Floyd. Nothing's changed since the Black Lives Matter thing. Police are still killing people. For no reason, who are unarmed. And they're not killing people when they are armed and in the middle of killing children. So something's wrong. Something's really, really wrong. I want to defund the police, and refund the community. So remember I was telling you about Mother She Wrote. MSN headline: DOJ will not cooperate with House Judiciary. But the reality is, DOJ won't share non-public information on open investigations per long-standing policy in an effort to uphold the constitutional rights of citizens and to protect the integrity of ongoing criminal matters. Because what Republicans want to do is like what they did with Benghazi. Benghazi was like bad, a tragedy, and yeah, the government needs to fix things, but Republicans twisted it into a way to try to discredit the Obama administration. That's why there were 8 fucking hearings, eight committees into Benghazi, and that's why Hillary Clinton was under oath for 7 hours, and nothing happened. Nobody went to jail. There were no criminal findings. Nothing happened. It was all a cynical effort. What was that? Oh, okay. It was all a cynical effort to discredit the Obama administration. Then, when Donald Trump took power, he did the Durham investigation, and that was a cynical ploy to discredit Robert Mueller's investigation into into Donald Trump's traitor dealings with Russia. Right? That's all. And in the end, nothing happened. They got no convictions. The Durham investigation was a sham. The only thing they wanted to do was to insinuate something happened. All they could do was insinuate. They couldn't prove anything. All they could do was insinuate. So the whole point was to discredit the Mueller investigation. Because Donald Trump and the Republicans are working with Russia to overthrow the United States for white supremacy. I've been saying it since 2018. Okay, Oh, yeah. So that abortion thing, right? Remember I was telling you about abortions, how Republicans like to strip power away from individuals and concentrate it into the government? Okay, here's how that went down. So about a month, a couple weeks, a month, whatever, before Republican judges took away rights from women to their own bodies, somehow a draft opinion leaked about what was going to happen. So basically they leaked the opinion of what was going to happen, which is they were going to strip the rights of women. They leaked it. And the conservatives were like, oh my god, some bad person leaked it. We need to find them. It was probably a liberal. But the actual result of leaking the decision ahead of time was to cement in any conservative justices who were kind of wavering. They're like, I don't know about this, guys. I don't know. Well, once they leaked it, they had a lot more pressure to make it happen. They had a ton of pressure to make it happen. And so it doesn't make sense to believe that a liberal would have leaked the decision. It makes a lot more sense to believe that a conservative would leak the decision to pressure other conservative judges into going along. So then we got evidence to support that theory recently. Where did I see that? So they went around and they searched all the people who had access to the decision, and they made all those people swear and sign affidavits and swear that they're telling the truth under penalty of perjury. Like hardcore, right? So during the course of the investigation, I spoke with each of the justices on several on multiple occasions. The justices actively cooperated in this iterative process, asking questions and answering mine. I followed up on all credible leads, none of which implicated the justices or their spouses. On this basis, I did not believe that it was necessary to ask the justices to sign sworn affidavits. So everybody else got sworn in, and they got shown not to have leaked the decision. The only people who did not sign an oath were the justices. So that narrows down the culprit. Now we know who the like, it could have been anybody in the judiciary, right, who had access to the documents. Now we've interviewed everybody and made them sign documents to swear that they didn't do it, and none of them, and all of them signed it, except the 9 justices. They're the only ones who haven't signed sworn and signed to swear to it. We can narrow it down now. A day later, the court was forced to issue a second statement saying that the marshal had in fact conferred with the justices, but on very different terms from the others at the institution. Lower-level employees had been formally interrogated, recorded, pressed to sign affidavits denying any involvement, and warned that they could lose their jobs if they failed to answer questions fully, according to interviews in the report. In contrast, conversations with the justices had been a two-way iterative process in which they asked as well as answered questions, the Marshal, Gail A. Curley, wrote. She had seen no need for them to sign affidavits. So, in other words, the justices got to ask questions about the investigation. How often do criminals get to ask questions about the investigations? So okay, imagine this, right? Oh God, this is so great. Imagine this, all right? So you got this guy, right? You got this criminal, this guy who's been like stealing from like breaking into people's cars and like stealing their radios and just trashing the interiors. He's just going around trashing stuff and then to make money for himself, right? To steal it for himself. So he's sitting in the interrogation room, and the cops are all walking around him going, all right, buddy, we know what you did. Are you gonna fess up? Are you gonna tell us what you did? You gonna confess to it? You gonna fess up? Because we got your buddy back there. He already told us what you did. Are you gonna tell us what you did? And that's the criminal's like, yeah, maybe I'll tell you what I did, copper. Maybe I'll tell you what I did. But you know what? Why don't you tell me what my partner told you? And then the cop's like, all right, buddy, I want this to be a two-way iterative process, a two-way street. So you're going to ask questions of me, and I'm going to ask questions of you. Yeah, your buddy didn't tell us anything. He didn't tell us nothing. I'm lying. I'm totally lying that your buddy spilled the beans on you. We don't know anything about what you did. That's why we're asking you and hoping that you'll tell us. All right, buddy. All right, criminal man. Now it's your turn. It's my time. It's my turn to ask the question. Tell us what you did and how you did it. So we can narrow down the thing to the justices. One of the justices leaked the decision to pressure the other justices into going along with it. And it wasn't the liberals. So now now it's down to 6 justices. It's one of the 6 justices. Alito, Thomas, Roberts, what's the other ones? Gorsuch, and that one woman Supreme Court Justices. I forgot her name. Amy Barrett. I mean, I don't see it, but I just remembered it. Yeah, one of those guys leaked the decision. Or gals. One of them leaked the decision, and they got to ask questions as well as answer questions, and they didn't have to swear to anything. So they did it. They did it. You narrowed the window so much that they did it. Okay. Oh yeah, I was telling you about how in the Republicans they want to concentrate power and strip it away from people, and I was telling you that Republicans, they actually really like gender affirming care, but only for some people. Not for they want the state to be able to determine which people can get gender affirming care. So let me show you. All right. Utah, this is by Aaron Reed. Utah Republicans exclude cis teen breast implants from trans care ban. In current legislative fights over gender-affirming care, it's clear that Republicans only intend to target transgender people. This amendment proves it. So, Senator Escamilla pointed out that bills targeting the transgender community are unconstitutional because they single out one group of people for discrimination. To prove her point, she submitted a bill that was simple in nature, a ban on plastic surgery on all minors, unless it is medically necessary. She submitted her logic. If we ban surgery for trans youth, why not ban plastic surgery for cisgender kids? This then went into discussions before heading to a vote. So they were talking. So in other words, the Republicans say it's not right for these kids to do gender affirming care because that gender affirming care establishes the fact that there are more than one gender, or more than two genders or sexualities or whatever. There's multiple. And what was I saying? If we allow it, that destroys the idea that our control over people, over their expression of themselves. However, if it were truly about like protecting kids, then they would also stop girls, young women, well, girls. They would stop girls from getting breast enlargement surgery, right? Why? If you're gonna stop one group of trans kids from getting surgery or taking hormones or whatever, from doing things that affirm their gender, why not stop other women from affirming their gender, but their gender just happens to be state-sanctioned gender? And Republicans said, no, we cannot stop. Republicans voted it down. They said, no, we cannot stop teenage girls from getting breast enlargement surgery. We can stop transgender kids from taking gender-affirming care, but we cannot stop young women from getting breast enlargement surgeries. That actually went down. That goes to show you, right? Republicans aren't actually interested in the well-being of children. They're interested in maintaining patriarchy and white supremacy. That's what they really are about. But they can't come out and say it because if they do, they'll be burned in the sun. If they come out and say, yeah, we're actually for white supremacy and patriarchy, yeah, and if they actually stood on their convictions, they would get destroyed. They can't. They have to morph into whatever shape necessary to attain power. So they'll say that they're doing it for the well-being of all kids, but when they actually come to prove it, then they morph and they say, no, actually we're doing it to maintain power and privilege of white supremacy. They had a chance to prove it and they failed. Yeah, Republicans always engage in bad faith. You cannot believe them. What else do I got? Trifecta. Okay, one of the big problems right now, switching to international for a second. One of the big problems right now we're having in the with regards to Ukraine is that Ukraine needs to start pushing back. It's one thing to send them defensive weapons, but that they can't retake their territory with defensive weapons. They need offensive weapons. And so to that end, they need tanks, dudes. They need tanks. They need battle tanks. That's what they need. If you want to defeat fascism, give Ukraine tanks. Okay, fine, right? A lot of countries have a lot of tanks. You know, you know, Britain's got their tanks. France has their tanks. Germany has their tanks. USA has their tanks. South Korea has their tanks. Japan has their tanks. Maybe. Everyone has their own tanks. Like, so the problem is not that we can't give Ukraine tanks. The problem is which tank to give Ukraine. It's a super big problem. It's a really important problem. Because if you give Ukraine the wrong tank, it'll make it much harder for them to retake their territory and end the war. Because ultimately, we want to end the war, right? I want this war to end. I don't want any more people to die. I don't want people to die. I don't want people to suffer. I don't want people to die and suffer. However, the lack of justice is what causes people to die and suffer. Without justice, people die and suffer. So, to that end, I look at Ukraine. And it was a grave injustice for Russia to invade Ukraine. A grave injustice. That injustice persists to this day. It has not yet been resolved. Ukraine has not been made whole yet. So, the longer that Ukraine is not made whole, the longer injustice persists. The longer injustice persists, the more misery and suffering we will have. The longer the war will go on. The war can only end when justice prevails. And justice will only prevail when Ukraine has retaken its territory from Russia. To that end, you need to send battle tanks. So the obvious solution in terms of a battle tank to send is the German-made Leopard tank. That the reason why it's an obvious solution is because of logistics. There's no facilities to maintain or train or anything for American tanks in Europe. But for German-made tanks, yeah, dude, they're all over the place. So it would be better to send German tanks. Because German tanks are more universal. It's easier to train troops for, and easier to get parts for, and easier to work on. Because it's already there. The workshops are already there. The training is already there. The schools are already there. Everything's already set up for that kind of stuff. Right? It's not set up for American tanks. Number two, I hear American tanks use a special fuel. I learned it from a guy. I read from a guy named Pwn All the Things on Twitter and on Mastodon. But basically, I guess American tanks use a special kind of fuel that isn't available in Europe. And the German tanks, I mean, they can be run on different fuels. They can be modified, but they have to be modified. And again, I showed you that map. There's no stations over there to work on tanks, so it'd be kind of crazy. But the German tanks run on diesel fuel, and diesel is all over Europe. They can get diesel easily. It's kind of hard to get American special fuel in Europe. Okay. So the problem though is that it's clear that we need to send the German tanks, but the problem is Germany. Germany is blocking other countries from sending German tanks. Like, other countries bought German tanks, like Poland. Poland bought German tanks. So, but they had to make a deal with Poland to get these tanks. Or they had to make a deal with Germany to get these tanks. The deal said, we will not export your tanks without your authorization, Germany. And that was the deal. Well, okay, fine. Now, Russia invaded Ukraine. And now Poland says, okay, we want to give our Leopard German tanks that we bought with our money over to Ukraine because they can use it. We're not using them; they can use them. And Germany said no, we won't let you. And then Spain said the same thing. Hey, we have some Leopard tanks, dude. We bought them. They're ours. We're gonna send them over to Ukraine. And Germany said no, we're not gonna let you. And then they're like, all right, fine. We'll ask Germany at this big conference called Ramstein or Ramstein or something. And we'll have this big conference, and then we'll all get together and ask Germany together to please send tanks to Ukraine. And at this big conference, Germany said no. So everyone's like, well, fuck. Like, in the meantime, while Germany says no to sending battle tanks to Ukraine, in the meantime, Russia is sending missiles and blowing up residential buildings. This isn't like a movie. This isn't an old demolition of an old place of ruins that no one lives in. People are literally living and sleeping in these houses when missiles hit, and this is the immediate aftermath. There are people under this rubble that are maybe dead, maybe alive, maybe not for much longer alive, but they're dead. They were just sleeping or like making coffee in the middle of the night, or I don't know, or doing whatever, living their lives. They weren't soldiers. They weren't doing anything. But Russia decides because they don't like Ukraine, they want to just nuke them. Or not nuke them, but shoot missiles at their civilian people and kill civilian people. So the longer we let this injustice go on, the more this kind of horror is going to happen. And Germany, Olaf Scholz is allowing it. He's allowing it by refusing to send German tanks to Ukraine so Ukraine can liberate its territory from Russian invasion. Like Russia, I don't know. You would think that Germany would know better because it was under Russian occupation as well. But then again, you start to think the other way. Well, maybe there's a lot of people in the in the German government who are sympathetic to Russia. Ooh. Oh shit. That's kind of what's going on in the United States though, right? With the Republicans, we have this entire white supremacist party who's already allied with the Russians to take power in the United States, and they already tried to overthrow the government in the United States, and they're still there. And our immune system, the FBI, the CIA, and our criminal justice system, the Department of Justice, our immune system is real slow in reacting to this, infection of white supremacy. I'm looking at Germany and being like, dude, Germany, you're not helping out. I wonder if you're compromised and in service to Russia. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I should look at my own eye. Look at the plank in my own eye. Damn. But still, at this point, everyone wants to send tanks. We can send American tanks, but it would be a bad idea because American tanks, there's nothing there to service them, and war is about logistics. It's not about who has the best weapons or who has the biggest stuff. It's a lot about logistics. If you can't look at the fail of the first Russian push for Kyiv. The Russian logistics are terrible. That's why they failed that's not the only reason. That contributed to their failure. The Ukrainian defenders were amazing and heroic, being under equipped, but fierce of heart, and yeah, they were great, and they were real smart. They exploited the Russian weakness with logistics. So yeah, to snatch victory away from the Russians and defend their homeland. Sweet, dude. We got to help these people. That's why I'm saying we need to send them battle tanks so they can get back their country and stop the war. And when we stop the war, at that point, Russia can start looking at itself and look internally into its own actions and in organization, and to see why did it choose to sacrifice its men and women in this horrible invasion of Ukraine. Why did Russia choose to do that? Why? But they won't get there until we push them out of Ukraine. They cannot have self-reflection until they're pushed out. So that's interesting. That makes me think a lot about how you can reflect this back to white supremacy in America. How much is there still white supremacy in the United States? A whole bunch. Like, and we have, we will continue to have violence until justice is present. Like, injustice is still here in the United States. It's all over. And like I went out last night to the Coin Jam to just have some like jerk chicken tacos, which are really, really spicy. They're really good, man. They're spicy, super spicy. But if I drank a beer too with it, so that kind of killed the spice, the hot, but still it was good. But anyways, I was walking home like at 9 o'clock, right? Not even late. It's 9 o'clock, and like I'm seeing people. It's fucking cold, man, isn't it? In the 30s, so that would be like in the single low, like 5 degrees Celsius. I don't know. It was cold, and there are homeless people out on the street downtown Salem, huddled in whatever little crack they can hide in, because like if they're out in the open too much, they get swept up. Oh my god, and they suffer. And I just came from like a cool bar with video games and had like delicious jerk taco chickens. Like how can the two coexist at the same time? Like that's cognitive dissonance, man. For me, it's like hurting. Ouch. Injustice. It's here too. So yeah, sure. As much as we fight fascism externally, we have to look at the fascism internally as well. All right. Wow. Okay. Let's see. Where? Da-da-da. Real quick about the Trump versus Biden. This is from T-Will. She's great. Obviously, the biggest difference is Trump's obstruction, which would make it far easier to charge 18 U.S. Code 793E, which is basically having unauthorized documents and refusing to give them back. So yeah, that's the difference between Donald Trump and Joe Biden in the whole document scandal. Did I not grab that thing? No, I didn't. So total documents with classified markings, Trump had over 300, Biden had around 21. Trump tried to obstruct the DOJ from getting its documents back. Biden seems to be cooperating. Trump had personal knowledge of the fact that he'd stolen documents. Biden, it's not clear if he knew that he had the documents. I don't know what that's about. Copy of the documents? Photography of the I don't know. Compiled documents possible. Empty folders. Trump had empty folders. We don't know if that's if Biden had any. Trump, there's still missing documents that Trump has, but not known from Biden. So Biden's it's doing the whole thing out in the open clean. Like they didn't need to get a search warrant to raid Biden's house because Biden let them in. He didn't block them. Trump blocked them. That's why the FBI needed to get a search warrant. Ooh, I'm scope sensor. How do I get more scope sensors? Anyways, I'll have to experiment with this thing. I don't know if that is. And then later, when I'm not talking about like important stuff, go back to the ancient city and do more exploring. That was fun. Maybe bring like, I don't know, what can I bring? A bed. Yeah. And lots of wool. Lots of wool. All right. Okay. Let's see. What else do I got here? The Biden documents. That was a good one. Let's see. Okay. Now you have to understand that Russia, like I keep talking about Ukraine and Russia and the need to end the war as fast as possible. And like, yeah, rah, 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 right? Like, okay, like, I'm harping on you. I'm harping on it. I get it. I know. But here, instead of me harping on it, why don't you look at the video? This is from Julia Davis. She's a fantastic reporter who's giving us insight into what's going on in Russia. And she got this video, and it was taken down on YouTube. But I'm gonna like edit. I'm gonna contextualize it enough to make it a new thing, so they can't take it down. Okay, so remember, this is from Russian Media Monitor from Julia Davis. Man, I want to make sure I'm saying her name right. I hope I don't crash my stuff. Yeah, that might be a bit much. Oh wait, not. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Come on, dude. Here, I gotta kill this first. Julia Davis. I'm gonna snip her, dude. She's important. This is where I get everything. Where I get from. Julia Davis. Ba-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-da. Can you see what I see? Do you see what I see? No, because they changed it. Properties. Change it. There we go. Okay. Yes, perfect. Wonderful. Okay. Oh, shit. What happened? What are you doing? Oh, shit. Okay. Oh, damn it. Okay. So this comes from Julia Davis. She is fantastic. Columnist for the Daily Beast, creator of the Russian Media Monitor. So what she does is that, remember I told you, Russian propaganda will eat your brain if you're not careful. It will eat your brain. That's what it's for. So she watches the Russian state TV so that we don't have to, because it's awful. It'll rot your brain. It's like watching Fox News. It'll rot your brain. So this is where this video comes from. But it's important, I think, for you to see exactly who the Russians are, right? I want you to see who the Russians are, like why they're coming to attack Ukraine and eventually everyone else. They're not going to stop with Ukraine. They're not going to stop with Ukraine.
Конечно, в каждом доме сейчас, на каждой кухне, в каждой гостиной, в каждом дворе.
All right. So yeah, dude. Bravo. Okay.
Ну а что дальше? Чем это кончится?
All the conversations. How will this end? I'm sure your friends and relatives ask about this. How will this end? Listen, same goes for me. I spend holidays in Sochi with all my relatives, and everyone has the same question. What's next? How will this end? Of course, every day we're also thinking, how will it end? I don't see any possible course of events.
Возможного развития событий,
except for the following.
Первое. Они не остановятся.
They will not stop.
Никакой мотивации.
They have no motivation to stop. See, she's telling the Russian people that the Ukrainians, the West has no motivation to stop. That's correct. Yeah, until Ukraine retakes its territory, there's no motivation to stop. Why stop? Why would Ukraine stop if they haven't stopped the Russian Ukraine invasion? Okay, so she continues. I'm not talking about Ukrainians. Oh, I'm sorry. How does this war harm America? It doesn't. Yeah, okay. So so she's talking about how can they get Americans to stop supporting Ukraine. That's what she's talking about. How can Russia get Americans to stop supporting Ukraine? That's what this Russian woman is. This is all Russian propaganda, right? That's what they're asking their people. That's how they're framing it. So they will keep raising the stakes. How do the Americans continue to raise the stakes? Remember, Russia is come on, dude, come out. Russia is sending missiles at residential buildings. It's actually happening. They're using their military to kill civilians in residential buildings in the middle of the night. How is the United States raising the stakes? How's the United States raising the stakes in the Russian invasion when? Oh man, I can't do both because where'd it go? Okay. I can't do both. I don't know if my video card can't handle it or what, but I can't do both. I gotta kill this one. Kill it. Infrared view, you must die. Oh, here. Holy shit! I'm like killing my computer. Okay, sorry. Can you even see it? It's not on here anymore. In friend view. I'm killing things. Anyways, here, get rid of that one. Oh, okay. sorry guys. I'm like trying to get my computer to like not crash. I switched to the new Windows 11. And it might be more resource intensive than I thought. So here. So to get back on what I was talking about, the Americans are not raising the stakes. It's the Russians who continue to send missiles into residential zones to kill civilians. Why? Because Russia cannot defeat Ukraine militarily, so Russia instead wants to use to break the spirit of Ukraine by killing its civilians and attacking power stations. Let's continue.
Что нам начнет быть, ну, как-то больно.
Well, yeah, of course it's going to cause you pain, dude. That's what the sanctions are made for, to cause you pain, to get you to stop invading. If you stop invading Ukraine, then the sanctions will stop and the pain will stop. I don't even want to listen to what she says. I don't doubt that they will do all the. Hold on, let's see. Okay. So now she's worried about saying about. Okay, so how would it end in this case? So Russia is saying right here, this can only end with the Caribbean Crisis 2.0. The Caribbean Crisis, that's the Cuban Missile Crisis. Remember, the Cuban Missile Crisis was when Russia staged nuclear missiles off the coast in Cuba, right off the coast of the United States. They were literally getting ready to nuke the United States. So Kennedy and the Russians had to have a conversation about like backing down, like you take away your nukes and we'll take away our nukes type thing. I think I'm not really sure, but now she's saying that the only way to resolve the Russian invasion of Ukraine is if the Russians push for another nuclear standoff. The Russians are saying that to their own people. It's not me, dude. It's the Russians that are saying it to their own people. So this can only end with an immediate threat that is voiced and presented. A threat of nuclear confrontation. So they're telling the Russians are telling their people the only way to win the Ukrainian war, the Russian invasion of Ukraine, is with nuclear weapons. That's kind of bad, man. Why are you telling your people that? That's kind of stupid. That's not. All you have to do is leave. That's all you have to do. You don't have to nuke anyone. All you have to do is leave. Stop attacking Ukrainian civilians. Just leave. Just leave. Just go home. You don't have to nuke anybody. What are you talking about? But it's not for us. This is for the Russian people. They're trying to scare the Russian people into believing this, right? They want the Russian people to believe this, so they'll go along with whatever Putin says. If you make the people afraid, like what is that? Machiavelli said that it's better to be feared than it is to be loved, because people choose to love you, but that means people can choose not to love you. But people don't have a choice if they fear you. They will fear you regardless. They don't have a choice. So it's better to be feared than loved. So Putin is trying to make his people afraid so that they will follow him.
Путин озвучил им наше представление о прекрасном, да? Что для того, чтобы не было сейчас.
So in order for things to not go very badly right now,
нужно учесть
our concerns have to be taken into account. What kind of concerns?
Опасения и наше видение,
as well as our vision of security. What part of security involves the invasion of other nations? Like, we already know Russia interfered with the American election of 2016 to install Donald Trump, who then took off sanctions that were on Russia. We also know that Donald Trump tried to undermine Ukraine in service to Russia. We know that Donald Trump took a whole lot of money from Russia, and that a lot of Republicans have their campaigns funded by Russia. So what kind of security does Russia want when they're undermining everybody else? I don't think they just need to get out of Ukraine, dude. Just leave Ukraine. If you want to be secure, stop invading other countries.
Безопасности сделать это и это. Помним, как это было год назад, за 2 месяца до начала СВО.
See, did you see what she said? They said special military operation. They don't even admit that it's a war. They can't even admit. Oh, yeah.
Помним, как это было год назад, за 2 месяца до начала.
2 months before the start of the special military operation. No, dude, it's a war. The Russian invasion of Ukraine. They tell their own people that it's not a war, that their people are not dying, that it's not really an invasion, that it's just a special military operation. It's not actually a war. That's how they keep their people calm. They lie to their people. They're literally lying to their people. This is a Russian network aimed at the Russian people, and they're lying to their people, just like Fox News does.
Это было проигнорировано. Что стало результатом этого игнора?
So, Rob, what's the okay? The special military operation was the result of that. Of what? At those December points, those December points were voiced. Oh, so that's right. I guess Russia made a bunch of unreasonable demands as pretext for invasion. That's what she's talking about. So Russia made a bunch of stupid demands. It'd be like me going to my neighbor and saying, "Hey neighbor, your wife is looking pretty good and your car's nice. Mind if I take your wife and steal your car? If you don't, I'll threat. It's the same thing, right? And if you say no and I go boom, and you harm the person, they'll say, "Oh, well, I asked you." That's the same thing here. It's the same thing.
С ребятами вот так же за столом, после того, как были озвучены эти декабрьские тезисы, я все время говорила, что, ребят, точно будет большая война, вот точно, до конца зимы что-то
So what's she talking about? So she blah 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 blah.
Тезисы не были бы озвучены.
Blah 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 blah. I don't know what she's talking about. In the form of ultimatum.
Так вот, нам придет.
In the form of ultimatum. Yeah, all Russia has to do is leave. Is that an ultimatum? Leave, or we don't stop, or the war won't stop. Leave, or the war won't stop. Is that an ultimatum? Or maybe they're giving us an ultimatum. Is that what's going on?
В ультимативном порядке в какой-то момент объявить, что шахты уже открыты.
Oh! Announce that the silos are open. She wants to threaten nuclear war. Yeah, we'll have to announce that the silos are open. What that means is that she's talking about the nuclear warheads. She's saying that eventually she's saying that Russia's going to have to threaten nuclear war with the United States to get the United States to stop supporting Ukraine. That's what they're telling their own people. There's not going to be nuclear war. There's no way. There's no way. Nuclear war is for existential threat. And a bad invasion of a foreign country is not an existential threat. All you have to do is leave. That's it. That's all you have to do.
Шахты уже открыты? Или как там это делается? Я
И
небольшой
отнюдь не на
специалист.
Киев направлено.
Ну, естественно. Киев-то вообще тут ни при чем. Киев разменная монета с их стороны, безусловно.
What? No, so here's Russia. Russia cannot believe that Ukraine is an independent entity, and that Ukrainians are independent people, and that Kyiv is an independent city, the capital. They can't believe it, right? They cannot believe it that Ukrainians want self-determination. They have to believe that Ukrainians are being tricked into joining the West. Like, how are we tricking them into joining the West? You come in with like tanks and kill their people in the middle of the night with missiles. How much convincing does the West have to do? But this isn't for us. This is for their own people. They're tricking their own people. So they're telling their own people that Ukrainians are brainwashed by the West, is what they're doing. And that Russia, it's necessary for Russia to liberate the Ukrainians from the brainwashing, quote, quote, quote. See, I'm doing air quotes. I don't believe any of this. Right?
И если вы вот сейчас осуществите вот такой-то шаг, вот
Okay.
или такое-то вмешательство, они, безусловно, к этому придут. Они, безусловно, будут отправлять туда войска напрямую или под прикрытием какого-то...
So, what she's saying is that if they, she's saying that the Americans are going to escalate one way or the other, either by invading Ukraine or disguised as a peace mission, like a peacekeeping mission. But she's saying that the West is going to invade Ukraine eventually. So they believe so she's telling the people that the West is going to invade Ukraine. They're totally oblivious to the fact that Russia right now is invading Ukraine, which is the whole point.
ЧВК или пенсионеров, они это, некоторые из них это делают и так уже, да, ты прекрасно...
So they're just lying to their people. Lie to their people.
Просто это поразительно, буквально не уезжаешь, я вот отдельно...
Dude, I need to speed this up. How do you speed it up? Playback. Speed.
Хочу сказать всей аудитории, вот этот человек, который работает с воскресенья по четверг с утра до ночи в эфире, пятницу и субботу проводит на фронте каждую неделю, без исключения. Я вот прям хочу тебе поплатить.
Okay, there we go.
Вообще,
Oh, 9. There we go. Okay.
для мужиков,
Речь
скажу
будет
прямо,
идти.
война гораздо комфортнее.
What? Okay, hold on. I missed a bunch of stuff. You know, there's just so much of this nonsense. It's a lot of it.
Воскресенье по четверг с утра до ночи
I don't
в
want to
эфире,
sit through all of
пятницу и
it.
субботу
It's kind of annoying. But the Russian media is literally brainwashing their people with a bunch of lies into starting a nuclear war with the United States. The longer we let them do that, and they will continue to do that as long as the war in Ukraine goes on. The war in Ukraine will continue as long as Russia has invaded Ukraine. The only way to stop the war is to get Russia to leave. The way you get Russia to leave is to give Ukraine the tools they need to win, which is long-range artillery and modern battle tanks. Stop giving them like crappy stuff. Give them the tools they need to win. The faster they win, the sooner the war ends. Okay. Now I can talk about something a little more lighthearted. You know The Matrix? Not The Matrix, no. There's a movie called, the movie, but like a series called The Animatrix. And there's a brief part of The Animatrix in the beginning where you see a person live their life up until the moment where they leave home, and then all of a sudden it turns out to be that everything was like part of the Matrix, and then they become a pod person. And as they leave the home, it was like a Christmassy home. And I thought, how interesting. Christmassy home. Christmas nostalgia. Christmas. And there's this XDKDM, I forget how to say his name, comic. That's it. Oh shit, there it is. Dude, oh man, this thing is broken. Oh shit, it's all fucked up. Is it even working? Man, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if the encoder is overloaded or what. Or if OBS is overloaded or what. I can't show you this picture. It's dying on me. Damn it. What's the problem here? It's dying on me. I can't show it. Well, anyways, that's gonna kill all my stuff because I can't do anything now. If I can't show all these slides. What's the dealie, yo? I was gonna talk about quantum entanglement. Okay, quantum entanglement, right? Quantum mechanics is pretty crazy. Like, holy shit, this thing's so all messed up. Okay, quantum entanglement is pretty crazy. Let's say you have two entangled balls, each in its own box. In this metaphor, the balls can be either yellow or red once observed. For now, they are in a state of superposition, or both red and yellow at the same time. See, that's the thing. Remember the thought experiment of Schrodinger's cat? So this is the way that they thought of it. Schrodinger, I think that's his name, Schrodinger thought of an experiment, and he said, what if you had a cat in a box, and this box was like big metal box, so made in a way that nothing can get in or out, no light, no air, no nothing goes in or out, and inside this metal box there's a cat just hanging out there, right? Meow meow meow, cat. Next to this cat is a big ass vial of cyanide with a hammer that's poised to break it. It's about to break it. It's ready. It's on a spring that will break it, and it has a 50-50 chance of either breaking the vial and killing the cat, or doing nothing after a certain time. Like at a time, the thing will happen or it won't happen. Okay, but for us on the outside, right? The time passes. Nothing goes in and out of the box, so we cannot know what is going on inside. Is the cat dead, or is the cat alive? The answer is that it's both. It's both dead and alive. It's in a state of superposition. In that, as long as no one looks at it, it's in a cloud of possibility. It's remember I showed you how it's a wave, like light is a waveform. It's like a waveform. It's just a wave. Light's a wave, electromagnetic wave. They're just waves. So when you have a state of superposition, you have like two waves. They're there at the same time, and they're dancing with each other, so that they're both there at the same time. But since no one is looking and no one can look, it doesn't collapse. That's why it can be there, because no one's looking at it. So since no one's looking at it, it can dance in the state of being both things at the same time. It's not until you look at it, you open the box, that this dance it collapses, and then boom, it becomes one thing only one thing. That's what they mean when they say waveform collapses. When the waveform collapses, your state of superposition ends, and you become one thing or the other. So until you look, it can be an either or it is. It's both at the same time. It's both dead and the cat is both dead and alive. The ball is both red and yellow at the same time. It's true. It's true. Doo-doo. Let's see. How can I do this without crashing? Nope. Totally unresponsive. Oh, here we go. Okay. That one. Yes. Okay. So remember, they're in a state of superposition. They can be either thing at the same time. So, but remember, these are entangled. All right. They're not just balls. Right. They're entangled. You do something special to these things, and then when they're together, and then you separate them far apart as you want. It doesn't matter. Just separate them. But when you do it, remember, they're in a state of superposition. You don't know until you look. So suppose you take one of these things and you open the box and you look in to see what happened. Whatever you pick in here, it's going to be the same thing over there. Like I don't care how far away it is. If whatever you find here, it's yellow. If you take the one from over there and you look, it's yellow too. Every time. Doesn't matter how far you separate the two. It looks like they are two separate entities, two separate particles. It looks like it, right? And then, but you do something to them. Something happens to them. You entangle them quantumly. And then you separate them for as far away as you want. It doesn't matter. As soon as you look at one of them and determine it collapses on one, the same thing will happen to the other one. Every time. It's not that information travels faster than light. It's that the two particles are still connected on another level of reality that we cannot perceive. Maybe you can explain it mathematically because that's how quantum computers work. So someone understands it better than me. But yeah, they're still connected even though they're literally physically not connected and separated far apart. They're still somehow connected to something else. In other words, something emerges from them. On a higher level, it emerges. So when you observe the ball, it will always, whatever the first one is, the second one will be the same, always, no matter how far apart they are. Okay. However, what if an observer decides to look at their ball from a different angle or side of the box? The balls would revert back to the state of superposition and have a 50% chance of being yellow and a 50% chance of being red. So, okay, we got this box, right? And we separated them out. And I looked at my box from the top. I'm like, oh, look, it's red. It's red. So way over here, they grab that box and they look at it from the top and they go, yep, it's red. It's red too. It's red. Yep. But then I close my box. I close my box again. Now I'm not looking at it. Now the waveform is dancing again. Now it's two things again. It's red and yellow at the same time. Over here, you're looking at it from the top, and it's like, oh, it's red. Me over here, I close my box. So now it's superposition. It's red and yellow. The waveforms are dancing. It could be anything. Well, it could be either one. Then I look at it, but this time I look at it from the side. Not from the top, but from the side. And then I'm like, oh, dude, mine's yellow. It's yellow. Same ball. Now it's yellow. It was red. Now it's yellow. Same ball. And then you will take your box, and you're looking at it from the top going, that's pretty cool. I'm going to close my box and look at it from the side too. Oh, man. Mine is also yellow. So sometimes when you look at it from the side, it'll be yellow, but sometimes it'll still be red. It goes back 50-50. It could be either one. So not only does it matter. Okay, so if the second observer also looks at their ball from the side view, it will match what the first observer saw. The balls are still entangled, but what the viewer sees depends on how they look at the ball. This is because the entangled information about color does not lie within any one ball, but exists in the connection between the balls. Like, I'm trying to wrap my head around that. How does that work? The information is not in the particle. The information is in the relationship. Oh, what? How does that work? Oh, my head. So, oh, too close. Okay. Networks of entanglement. Entanglement can also occur among hundreds, millions, and even more particles. The phenomenon is thought to take place throughout nature, among the atoms and molecules in living species, and within metals and other materials. When hundreds of particles become entangled, they still act as one unified object. Like flocks of birds, the particles become a whole entity unto itself, without being in direct contact with one another. So, an entity emerges from the relationship of particles that are not in direct contact with one another. And a thing emerges, even when separated from vast distances. And hundreds of particles, thousands, millions of particles can become entangled with one another. And it's going on in nature right now. And they made quantum computers with it. Wow. So, yeah, that's amazing. There's like so much to learn and so much out there. Like, I tell you all these bad things not to bring you down, but to make you angry. Anger is a gift. I want to make you angry that Republicans and white supremacists are trying to overthrow the United States. I want you to be angry that injustice exists and persists and is what is the genesis of suffering and misery. I want you to see that the concentration of power and wealth is fundamental to fascist ideology. And so you can identify fascists by identifying people who want to concentrate power and wealth. So I'm doing this not to depress you or to dishearten you, but to make you aware. And with that awareness, to make you angry and use that anger to spur you into action. Not into action like go kill someone, because that's karma, dude. You're killing yourself. but to action, some kind of dance. And maybe you have to go wandering in the wilderness for a little while to understand it. You know, everyone's different. Everyone has a different process. But yeah, the United States, what we've got with democracy and what we've got with a middle class and the idea of sharing the wealth with everyone, that's a really good idea. We should direct our society into those ideas that benefit the majority of us. not even the majority of us, but like all of us, humanity, the expression, the vision of humanity that we want. And you can see with the two parties, each one has their own vision of the future that they're expressing. So just go from there, right? You know that the Republicans want a future with lots of government control and wealth accumulation at the top and widespread poverty. And you know that Democrats are trying to expand the vote, divest the power into the people, and spread the wealth by basically giving tax credits and money to kids and spreading healthcare. So I don't know. They're not perfect, but they're a lot better than the fascists that are in control of the House of Representatives right now, which is the Republicans. Okay, America, please contemplate the idea of the reality of quantum entanglement and see how it applies to your life. Maybe even like tell me about it if you can. Until next time, hang in there, Ukraine, yo. Hang in there, Americans. I mean, we're under attack a lot by the injustice of white supremacy. All of us, all sorts of us, are being under attack by it. So, but we got to band together and know that we can defeat them because it's inevitable. It's inevitable. Well, I wouldn't say it's inevitable, right? We have to fight for it. It's not inevitable. They can easily take it away. But if we fight for it, we can win. So, all right, America. Until next time, Pogo Kiddo out. Peace.